right, welcome back in. Just another football show.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
AFC Championship. It is the fourth matchup.
It's about time someone asks Ryan.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm notoriously nervous when it comes to these things. I'm ready for the day to get here. Just I gotta know, right? That's how it feels. But should, in theory, hopefully be a good match. I'm terrified of a blowout, if I'm being completely honest.
I don't think you have to worry about
Bengals
that.
looked very good. I mean, Chiefs defenses looked pretty good. Worried about the Mahomes thing. Obviously, we're going to talk to Frenchie about that. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he's playing this game, but not 100% going against Joe
If the
Shiesty.
last three games are any indication, it'll be a field goal game either way. I think it's going to be a very good one. It is kind of a style clash against the NFC Championship game, which should be like a, defensive kind of slugfest there. And then this could be a high-flying shootout. Very good offenses here, solid defenses as well. So
Yeah.
going to be a good, complete weekend of football, or Sunday of football. Just one day of football this week, sadly. But this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Frenchie. He's been our Chiefs fan for a while. Bengalorian's back.
He's back.
He had the kid and had to come back. He called his shot.
He did.
We'll talk about it.
Yep. He called a shot. He was the first one to message us after the victory. Sunday? He was just blowing up the DMs.
Yeah, he was ready to go.
Hey,
Let's go.
Let's go.
So I appreciate that. We got great fans here. So let's talk to Frenchie. Get him going. Get some feels, and then we'll talk to Bengalorian and. Should be a good one. I'm interested to see what these two guys have to say and some score predictions. I want to see how close the score predictions are because, man, this should be a good one, I think. All right, guys, got to bring in Frenchie. He is our Chiefs fan. He has been doing this. He's done this AFC Championship game for
years,
a number of years in a row now. I don't know how many. Have we been doing these fan previews for this many years? 5 years? However many years it's been. Frenchie's been here doing it with us, sir. Team moving on, another AFC Championship game at Arrowhead. Seems like old hat at this point. How's it going, sir?
Well, it was a little nervous there when we saw Mahomes go down, but I think a lot better now knowing that the X-rays and MRIs all came back negative.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was going to say, where was your mind at when that happened, right? We saw it go down. It looked bad. It looked bad immediately, and then did not look better afterwards when he's trying to run plays.
I'm pretty sure that I may have prayed for the first time in a long time.
It worked.
It all checks out, man. That all checks out. I'm with you there. So let's talk not the Cincinnati game yet. We're going to talk a little bit of the divisional round. I don't know how much we can take away fully from this game with Pat not being 100%, but again, he probably won't be 100% out there this upcoming weekend either. Saw again great things from Chad Henne out there, just doing the damn thing. 98-yard touchdown drive, setting Chiefs records, even not being the starter. Great game from Travis Kelce. What are your takeaways from this game against Jacksonville, moving into the AFC Championship game?
I think it goes to show how solid the Chiefs team and play calling is. That Chad Henne, anything is possible, but the fact that he was able to come in for one major drive, go 98 yards, and throw a touchdown pass is really a testament to how good the Chiefs offense is and how much better it even is with Patrick Mahomes under center. I think that the biggest takeaway is the defense started to look a lot better. A really good game from Frank Clark. And with that banged up Bengals offensive line, I wouldn't put anything past that D-line with Chris Jones, Clark, and George Karlaftis to get after Joe Burrow a little bit this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's got to be a lot of the game plan is getting back there. We've seen Joe Burrow deal with pressure pretty well the last couple seasons, right? We saw him do it pretty well last year with that bum line that he had, and then even this year now with the injuries. Not as much pressure getting at him there in Buffalo last weekend, but do you think that's the most important part of this game coming up on Sunday is pressuring him, or how do you look at this game as far as what's got to get done?
Throw as many people possibly at Jalen or at Jamar Chase, because he
Had some
torched
games.
them for 3 touchdowns last year. And if the Chiefs are going to win this game, they can't give up 3 touchdowns to Jamar Chase.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
a
I
pretty
think that
solid game plan.
Most teams can use that piece of advice there, but there seems to be a blueprint here that Cincinnati has for beating the Kansas City Chiefs. They've done it 3 times in a row. This is the 4th matchup in just over a year, and Cincinnati's come out victorious in all of them by a field goal in all of them. What does Kansas City, or what can Kansas City do different to break the streak and to finally get one over on Joe Burrow?
I think the biggest thing, you've got to play a better second half. I mean, those 2 games last year, the Chiefs had double-digit leads in both of them, including the 21-3 lead in the AFC Championship last year. You got to play better defense down the stretch, and I think the big thing is that Reed also can't take his foot off the gas pedal. That's something I talked about last week. You got to keep burying your opponent, especially in the playoffs. Like, if you do in the regular season, you take your foot off the gas pedal, they come back and win, it's one thing. But it's do or die now. This is the AFC Championship. If you don't win this game, your season's over. And then you start to look of, okay, Patrick Mahomes has been to 5 AFC Championships, and now he has a losing record in there. And I think it starts to put a black eye on his legacy a little bit if they continue to come up short in this game against the Bengals.
You think Andy Reid and the Chiefs offense will be able to keep that foot on the gas with a kind of banged up, less than 100% Patrick Mahomes?
Well, from what Reid said, it's very similar to the ankle injury that Mahomes had in 2019, where he then came out the next week and threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns against Oakland.
This is the narrative making its way through. I've just mouthed everything you said to Ryan as you said it. I didn't get a chance to bring it up on our Wednesday episode, but man, that's the hope.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that ends up being the case, because I would love a shootout between these 2 teams. And I don't know, I think the Chiefs will make just enough defensive stops, because I still don't trust the Bengals secondary. I know they've got a great defense, but I don't know. I think that the Chiefs are going to be extra motivated, especially if they have a regular season loss again this year. And like I said, I don't know if I said it on here last week, but I said that I wanted the Bengals because I felt the Chiefs were more due for a win against them than the Bills were due for a win against Kansas City. So I think it's destined for the Chiefs to win this one and finally break that streak.
I'd say it is an odd streak there, and I'm sure that Kansas City would love to break it. Something you said in there just kind of ticked a box in my head. You said you couldn't really trust Cincy currently. Like, are we trusting Cincy now? Like, it'll be back-to-back AFC championships. It'll be 2 good seasons in a row. Like, are we able to trust the Cincinnati Bengals at this point? I know, like, all of us have been watching football for decades, and they've been bad for, I don't know, decades. Like, is this a team we can trust?
Well, they were a play away from winning the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
And they have won on the road in the playoffs consistently over the last 2 seasons. Yeah, I think we can say that we can trust them at this point, especially when you realize Joe Burrow is not Ken Dorsey. He is not Andy Dalton. He's not Carson Palmer. He's Joe Shiesty.
Yeah. He's the guy that everyone's just buying into, and Casey and I discussed it on the Wednesday show. Maybe players will be taking less money to continue playing with him, since that's going to be a big problem coming up. But all right, looking at the game, this is second AFC Championship in a row. This will be 4th matchup between these teams in just over a year, right? Give me a little bit of game flow. Tell me how this game goes in Arrowhead. This is the night game on Sunday. How does the game go, and what's the final score? Are you finally beating this Bengals team?
I think we'll see a final score of 31-28. I think the Chiefs make a stop late, get a late field goal. I really think this is going to be a shootout. I think we're going to see both quarterbacks throw for multiple touchdowns, probably close to or over 300 yards. I think both running backs. I think Pacheco and Joe Mixon are 2 of the more underrated backs in the league. Casey and I have talked about Pacheco at length, but I still think Joe Mixon does not get the respect he deserves.
Agreed.
He's finally started to get some of that respect the last 2 seasons, but this guy's been a workhorse since he came into the league 5 years ago. And now I think that he's starting to get some of that respect, but he's never someone you can overlook and someone that makes this team really scary. Obviously you've got the trio of Boyd, Higgins, and Chase on the outside. Hayden Hurst was a really good pickup to replace the loss of Uzamoa, who went to New York. And he's going to work the middle of the field. You know, he's not going to put up huge numbers, but he's a reliable target. There's a lot of options for this offense, and the Chiefs start a lot of young guys in that secondary between Watson and McDuffie, just to name two of their starting corners. And you got guys off the bench. They're going to play some big minutes that are young. I mean, Nick Bolton is still only in his second year at that linebacker spot. He's become one of the most underrated linebackers in the league, but you know, he's more of a run stuffer. He's grown in pass coverage, but can he kind of take away a little bit of that middle of the field along with Willie Gay? It gives him a really good athletic linebacker pair. But I don't know, there's just a lot of weapons you got to cover defensively, and I think the Chiefs are going to struggle to stop that. And I think the same is going to be true on the other side. I don't think, like, even with the secondary that with Jesse Bates lining up at safety, I don't think he's going to be able to cover Travis Kelce. And after the game, Kelce just had 2 touchdowns, 14 catches, and the most by a tight end in playoff history. I think he's hungry for another Super Bowl appearance and wants to get back there this season. And I think he's going to be the biggest X factor going into Sunday.
One of the best players in the entire league, still an X factor here. Like you said, after the week he had too, it's going to be very tough to slow him down because, like you said, he wants to get back to the Super Bowl, wants to help increase his legacy, and I'm sure for Travis Kelce, ideally play against his brother.
I think it'd be fun to see him play against his brother. I would also really like to see him play against George Kittle.
Yeah, I'm happy either way.
Yep.
As long as it's the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I don't care who they play.
There you go.
I just want to see him get back.
I'm with
They
you.
don't even necessarily have to win. I just like seeing Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
I'm with you, sir. I'm with you. It's worth the bargaining. The anxiety's high for me this week. So, friends, we appreciate you taking a little time to hop on with us, and hopefully, a couple weeks we'll be bugging you before the Super Bowl to come on and preview that game with us.
Yeah, looking forward to it, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, appreciate you, sir.
Thanks, Frenchie.
Bye.
All right, so he took a week hiatus. Something about having a child. I guess acceptable.
I guess we've seen NFL players do it, so it's fine.
There was the child joke there, and I didn't make it. Son of a bitch.
It was obvious.
Well, take 2. We're bringing back in the Bengalorian. Spoiler alert. He gave us the I don't want to call it the cold shoulder last week. Said, hey, if you can find someone else, here's a couple guys, talk to them. But I will be back to talk Bengals Chiefs. He called it out in the messenger, and he was the first one to hit me up after the game and said, hey, when we talking? So man, your team back to the AFC Championship 2 years in a row, playing the Chiefs. How you feeling, sir?
I feel great. I never doubted him, man. I really didn't. I didn't at all. I think we're in a good position to go in and play our best football against the Chiefs here.
Yeah, if Sunday's game was any indication, the Bengals are the team to beat in the NFL right now, right? They looked as good as anyone, dominated the Bills, a team that a lot of us had picked, or a lot of people had picked to go to the Super Bowl. A lot of teams, the Bengals own this game front to back, left to right, top to bottom.
Yeah, you put that touchdown back on the board. That was a touchdown, mind you. We're up, 35-10 at that point, and we walk away with an even bigger route than we put on them there. And I have a lot of respect for the Bills. They're a good football team. Josh Allen's a great quarterback. They've got Diggs in there. I'm a big Matt Milano guy. I love him at linebacker. He's just a mean SOB, and I think he's a good football player. So that's not a bad team. We just rolled. So.
Yeah, and I think the victory surprised a lot of people. Not you. None of the Bengals fans were surprised here, but
I bet it. I won money on this.
I bet it too. I did too. My best bets had it. I put actual real human dollars on it as well. So we all had the faith, but to kind of deal it to him like he did with the 3 banged up offensive linemen, the 3 backups in, how were the Bengals able to be so efficient on offense with those backups in there?
We've got amazing coaches, underrated coaches that I just feel people don't really understand how talented they are yet. And guys like Frank Pollock and Sweet Lou here, who's finally getting his name tossed around as a great guy to potentially be a head coach next year. If he does, God willing, I hope he does a great job. If not, he'll come back and we'll be right back here next year. But I really think it's that and a combination of the culture that Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow and the rest of this team have really developed over the last couple years that have allowed us to come together as a team, weed out like diva behavior, get on the field, pick each other up when they're down. I'm saying we because I'm a part of this team as a fan.
Absolutely.
But,
I'm with you. We and us all you want, sir. We and us all you want. I hate people that get mad about that.
I do too. But they pick each other up when they fall down. They celebrate when they do things together with like snow angels and high fives and all kinds of stuff. Offense, defense. They're picking up our little itty bitty Evan McPherson, putting him on his shoulders. It's just a fun football team. And there's a lot of talent. I mean, the talent is almost secondary in my eyes to winning with our football team to everything else I just named for you.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up Joe Burrow and what he's been able to do off the field, of building a culture, right? And him and Zach Taylor. Where, in your mind, where is Joe Burrow in the top portion of the league as far as quarterbacks are concerned? I know your answer, but I want you to say it.
If I'm going to give you, I think he really is up there 1, 2, 3. I think it's like him and Mahomes, 1A, 1B, because I have nothing but respect for Patrick Mahomes. I really do like that guy a lot. And I think Josh Allen, he kind of before the latter half of this season where he not like struggled real bad, but kind of showed Josh Allen-isms. I don't have a right word for it, but kind of some goofy throws during the game against us. I'll put him as number 3. Now, I'll tell you, as a fan, I think Joey B, if he wins this Sunday, how can you not say he's the best quarterback in football right now? You know what I mean? And I know when you say, oh, Joe Burrow has beaten Patrick Mahomes 3 times, we all know that's not how that works. I mean, he's throwing against a defense and not on the field at the same time. But that's the verbiage that gets tossed around. But if he wins this Sunday and he outplays Patrick, which put an asterisk on it if you want, if he's hobbling around out there, then how can you not say he's the best quarterback in football right now?
Exactly. And that's a perfect segue into here. Again, the AFC Championship is Bengals at Chiefs. It is Mahomes and Burrow, your 1A and 1B at quarterback here. How do you feel being back in the situation, back to the AFC Championship after the Bengals, have struggled for years, and now they seem to have a consistent championship-level team? How are you feeling?
I feel better about this game than I did the Bills game, especially after what we just did to the Bills. Because if you look at our games we just played, we rolled the Bills. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They weren't going to win that. When we went up 14-0, that game was over. And then you look at the Chiefs game, who, mind you, they're a good football team. They only won by a touchdown against the Jags. And I know Mahomes, he took a little bit of a beating, but that man's a warrior. He went back out there and he willed his team to a win. And I would shake his hand right now if he was in front of me and pat him on the back because that's incredible. But they barely beat the Jags in my eyes at the end of the day on the scoreboard. So if you look at the Bengals, who have beaten the Chiefs, 3 times in a row, right? We match up well with the Chiefs. And then you look at the fact that, again, we rolled the Bills and the Chiefs sort of struggle with the Jags. And maybe I'm not giving the Jags they're just dues. Maybe they're better than I'm portraying them right now. But that's to be honest, not a team I've really had a lot of respect for a long time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I look at it that way. I'm very confident in our ability to beat the Chiefs Sunday, but I would also not be surprised if it turns into a slugfest because the Chiefs are a damn good football team.
Absolutely. And we saw on Sunday in that Jags game that Saturday, they were able to win in multiple ways. They were able to run the ball well. They're able to use the middle of the field, the outside of the field, deep, short, do all sorts of things. Andy Reid is a genius, and Patrick Mahomes executing it is as good as anyone. So they are a scary team. What does Lou Anarumo have up his sleeve to stop Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Eric Bieniemy?
I think that we're going to realize that Patrick's ankle is – I'm not saying the boy's got a busted tire he's playing on, but I think early on we're going to really, really test him and see, hey, man, you willing to stand in here and you willing to take some hits? And if you are, okay, let's play ball. But if he's not shifty magic Pat back there running around dodging tackles left and right, I think what Lou is going to do is, maybe he might stack the box a little bit and try to stop Pacheco, because if we can pressure Pat and he doesn't have time to throw, it's going to be a different ball game than Pat's used to. Now, mind you, Pat on one leg back there, if he has time in the pocket, he'll carve you up. He's just as surgical as Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? They're both there's field surgeons out there, and they'll carve you up if you let them. So I really think guys like Trey Hendrickson and even Mike Hilton are little linebacker DB that they have to get back there, and they've got to pressure Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, all the talk about the offense and the offensive weapons with the three-headed monster at wide receiver and Hurst and all the defense for this Bengals team has really showed up. Been showing up all year, but really showed up here. Eli Apple was shutting people down. Mike Hilton, like you said, DB linebacker guy coming up and thumping guys. The defensive ends, Hendrickson, Hubbard, everyone's just showing up and playing really well. And I think that is what it's kind of elevated this or continues to elevate this team to that next level, to that championship type level here. And it'll be very fun to see this game play out on Sunday. This is the late game on Sunday, but this is going to be a great matchup here, even though this is the fourth iteration of it that we've seen in a little bit over a calendar year.
Yeah, I'm calling it game of the year. I thought this Bengals-Bills game was going to be game of the year, and unfortunately the Bills just didn't show up. But I think right now there's some bad blood between this Chiefs team and this Bengals team, both who are very good and both who are probably going to be in this game for the next 5 to 10 years, off and on. You know what I mean? There's going to be some years where, oh, crap, the up-and-comer knocked off the big boy. You know what I mean? But Bengals, Chiefs, Bills, these are the teams that you're going to hear up in this title game fighting for a championship for the next 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely. They have all the makings of being this next great rivalry, this next Colts and Patriots kind of rivalry, and I'm all for it. So, all right, Bengalorian, looking at this game, look at the Sunday game here, the game of the year for you. How does the game go? And then give us a final score.
Okay, I think we're able to let Patrick know, hey, man, you were banged up last week, and we're going to let you know that you're still banged up, and our defense might be out there telling them, hey, you shouldn't even be out here, man. You should go ride the bench and let old man Henny come out here and try to sling the pigskin for you. But I see Patrick standing in there and connecting. I see Pacheco maybe gashing us a couple times. I also, on the other hand, I don't see their ability to maybe stop Mixon because he's on a roll. And my Lord, our receivers. You can't stop them. I'm sorry. You just can't. And then throw Hayden Hurst in there, the Cincinnati Viking. Good God. Can't do it. Like I said last week against the Bills, same mantra here. I miss you, but same mantra here. I think this is going to be a dogfight. I really do. I think it's going to end in the realm of 31-27 or something like that. And I'm going to call Bengals the winners. And we're going to go to the Super Bowl this time in Arizona, and we're going to beat whoever's in front of us.
It's 1 point less than our Chiefs fan called the game. He called it 31-28. So
I think it's going to be a dogfight, and he does too.
We all sort of agree on that.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be a good one.
It's I hope it's a good one at least.
Yeah, so do I.
All right, man. We appreciate you taking a little time to talk to us. I sincerely hope we're not talking to you not next week. It won't be next week. It'll be the week after. It'll be a week from now.
I'll give you guys a break before you bring me back on.
Before the big game. You got to give me some time if we got to bring you back on. But you know damn well if you're playing in the Super Bowl, we will be talking to you about that big game. Should be a fun one, sir. We appreciate you taking some time for us tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys too. All right, I'll see you later.
All right, have a good one, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
And that's that one.
Yeah. They felt the same way, right? Frenchie and Bengalorian felt pretty similar here, except the other side of the coin ball, whatever you want to call it. But they had both of them had a very close matchup, very narrow here. The last three have been decided by a field goal, all in favor of the Bengals, as I'm sure you're acutely aware. And I just
very much aware.
I think this game getting the game of the year billing feels appropriate, right? It just feels like this was maybe always going to happen. Maybe how it was going to end. Like what's the line now? If you got in front of you,
1.5.
1.5
by 1.5.
Like
this is when a full move. This game opened at 2, I believe.
Yeah, for Chiefs, right?
I didn't bet. Yeah, I didn't bet it at the time. You know me. I'm usually the guy that will put some money on the money line for the other team, and
It's worth that
at minus 130. I'm not really sure it's worth it. So.
Yeah, so Vegas is feeling the Bengals as well, but I fully expect that line to move as well, right?
It's a lot of Patrick Mahomes stuff, I think, too.
If we get a little bit more clarification.
I think if Pat was healthy, this would be probably maybe Chiefs by 1. I think that there's a lot of that on this. So we'll talk about it a little bit more on Friday. Again, we appreciate having Frenchie and Bengalorian taking some time. Man, I know his schedule is super fucking busy right now. With
just had
the new kid and all the other things. I appreciate him still being on us as soon as the Bengals won on Sunday. When are we going? When are we talking? So I appreciate him doing that.
We got some real good fans.
We do have some. I really, really appreciate the guys that are helping our little engine that could. So make sure you guys check out the preview for the other game, the Niners-Eagles. That one is up and ready for your listening pleasure if you missed it. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I think that we're down to 4, so I think I'll throw them all together and put them out on the podcast feed too. Only be around about an hour or so. So hopefully if you guys missed the video, still go back and give them a little like or a share. But if you're checking it out on the podcast feed, we appreciate you doing that as well. Make sure you're checking out the socials everywhere, getting our best bets coming at you. Those should be out, today, I think, if this is on Friday. If you're listening on Friday, go check it out. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at Another FB Show on all of those things. And
can confidently say we both won bets last week.
We did.
We're not fools.
Pretty good week.
When there's only so many games to bet on, you start winning some of them.
Yep, and I don't feel good about betting anything this week. So what are you
Still
going
to have to. You have to. Though.
We will. We'll get some bets out there. It will happen. So until, check out the podcast on Friday if it's – depends on when you're listening to this. This one's
until you hear us next.
Yeah, until you hear us next time. Maybe it's next week when we're filling time before a Super Bowl. Who knows? But until the next time that you're listening to us, this has been Just Another Football Show.
See ya.